as I walk through the homestead we created last time, I realize that we still have a long way to go before we can really flesh everything out that I have in mind for this area. With that, we are definitely going to make some big improvements to the homestead today. Now, I can't lie, one of the big improvements that needs to be made is this cobblestone box full of villager madness. I know, this is super embarrassing. I needed to get the villagers over so they were closer to where I was working, and I think this is probably enough said. You can see the chaos. However, that doesn't mean I'm ready to create a home for the villagers today, so we may just need to figure out a way to hide this box while we finish off the homestead. In between the two episodes, I spent some time out in the world exploring just to see what was around me a little bit better and find the borders of the rule I gave myself, which was not to go more than 1,000 blocks from spawn. And I found a few very notable things. First off is I was really excited about this cave to start with because I could see that there was moss on the other side, but before I had a chance to really look at it properly, a skeleton shot me off and I fell down into the depths without being prepared for that type of a fall and an encounter. So I started running for my life so I could get out of the cave. I did want to make my way around to get the moss, but at the moment I was more occupied with surviving because I've done a death loop before and I don't want to do another one in this world. The lush cave discovery was unexpectedly scary, but also amazing because I really like moss and the things it brings into a world. So I harvested up a pocketful of all the resources that you get from this type of a cave, and I did so on the other side of the cave where the sun was poking through. I even picked up several piles of clay while I was there, and I made a new friend. There's a cute little pool, and I picked up my first little axolotl. Hey, little guy. I don't know where I'm going to put you yet, but I'm glad I have you. Over the mountain from the lush cave was my next discovery. It was the tiniest little patch of dark oak forest ever, which is amazing because I love dark oak. So I picked up a bunch of wooden saplings while I was over here. And I also filled up my pockets with a bunch of the mushrooms just in case I need those for building or something else later on too. My third exciting discovery was a mine shaft, and there were a few things that I was looking for down here. I was hoping that I could find one of the poison spider spawners. Now, I didn't actually want to find the spiders themselves, but the spawners themselves are good for XP. There's also these really cool chests in the mine carts. I was hoping for some awesome things. A golden apple, okay, the treasure really wasn't that great. But just around the corner from the treasure was a geode. Geodes aren't super rare in the world, but it was the first one I found, so that was awesome. And then, right after the geode, I found the spawner. And as soon as I cleared out the spider spawner and got all the spiders taken care of, I was hearing more spiders. I started digging around to see where the sound was coming from, and I found not only another minecart with a couple diamonds in it, but another spawner literally just around the corner. It was sort of hard to tell how close they were together, so I had to do a little bit more mining just to find out, could they both be activated at the same time? It didn't take me long to figure out that they were much closer than I thought, and that's excellent news because I think they're close enough that we can do a double spider spawner. My last discovery was a cherry blossom biome. It's the cutest little hill, and as soon as I got up, there was a village, and I could even see across to another mountain with another cherry blossom hill. I just thought this was so cute, and it's a little way from spawn, but I decided to officially name it Cherry Hill. We will return to it in the future, and we will do some kind of really cool build. I've been harvesting a lot of wheat so that I could get trades from the villagers to get emeralds to get more of the tools and equipment as I've been gearing up. And I noticed a jelly cat walking through the field. So I immediately popped into the water so that I could get some fish. While I was fishing, I got a salmon head. Now, I'm thinking that Jelly would definitely like to have someone with a salmon head to tame them and come and live with me, so I decided to put the head on while I was going to go out jelly hunting. I was shocked as I started heading over to where I thought Jelly was, and then I couldn't find her, and then started out and found a raid, and I thought, you know what, I really am not in the mood for a raid, and just over the edge here is one of my golem friends. So I let the pigs out along with the golem and just sort of stood behind him while he took care of it. I could have taken care of them myself, but I didn't have a lighter or anything on me, and I'm right over here by the villagers, and I don't want to start a raid, and well, you know, the golems, I think he might need a name soon too. For now, let's call him Maurice. Thank you, Maurice. Your service was very appreciated. I left Maurice to stand guard by the villagers and went back after her Jelly hunt. I really like Jelly. She's one of my favorite cats in the game, and she, you know, put up a fight. I thought maybe the head was going to help, but I chased her all over the valley, and eventually she saw that I was exactly who she wanted to be with and came home to join the homestead. I started doing a bunch of fishing. Partially, I was thinking about what I wanted to do in the area and just sort of brainstorming while I was in the world. But also, I had noticed a bunch of cats spawning near me. One of them here was little Lita, who's my white cat, is the first one I tamed, and I think she's so sweet. And I wanted a name tag. Well, that was easier to get with fishing. I already have 2 name tags that I found in the mine shaft, which is awesome, but I have a lot of farm animals that I want to name, and I was trying to decide who to do first, but I definitely decided Lita was going to be one of the first. So here she is named, and I gave her a little bit of yellow dye for her collar, and I think she's so cute. Say hi, Lita. I've never completed the accomplishment to get every single type of cat in the game before, so that's definitely one of the big goals on my list for this series. I got a little sidetracked with my adventures with the cats, but my main goal for the day is to get all of the animals and all of the crops settled into my homestead area. So you can see with free cam here that I've created a little bit of a shape for the barn that's actually pretty large. I want to be able to do a pen for all the different animals inside of the barn and a really pretty little field next to it for the sheep. And all of this is just going to be harvesting manually for now. I don't have any redstone and I haven't made it to the nether yet, so things like automated farms are going to come in the future. But part of the benefit to having a manual farm is that it's also very aesthetic. Manual farms are just so cozy and beautiful, and since I'm creating a homestead area, it makes sense to have them set up that way, even if I do plan on doing more automated farms in the future. As you can see, I just have built up the base with a little bit of the acacia wood and a combination of different stones, and then I'm going to run a second floor on one half and explore maybe an angular roof on the other. I'm not working off of any pattern or design. I'm just sort of following the shape and keeping in mind the type of space that I want on the inside. So I'm definitely just doing a makeshift version of a barn. It does need to be pretty big, but sometimes it's fun to explore and build at the same time. I was able to strip some oak to go with some regular planks back and forth for the walls, and then I peppered a lot of different blocks for the inside so it would look like the animals had trampled down the ground just a little bit. And before I knew it, the barn was all put together and I really thought it was looking great. Somehow it was missing something, and I stared at it for the longest time, and then I decided to add a tower going up into the middle, which was amazing, and then I decided to change all the wood out. I'd started with the acacia and I decided it just wasn't dark enough for the build I was creating, so then I switched out all the acacia for spruce logs, and that definitely did the trick. I really like the change, and sometimes you just have to adjust things. I did decide to add one little bitty sort of farm at the bottom of the chicken coop where I wanted to put in just a couple of hoppers so that the chickens would lay the eggs and I could collect them in a chest down below. Not over the entire area, just in a couple spots where the chickens were. That way I could get a few eggs periodically and I wouldn't have to worry about them in the world again. I covered the hoppers up with a little bit of brown carpet that I spattered about the area, and we were ready to move in the animals. The barn looks amazing. It went a long way to bringing the area together. I have a lot of improvements in mind still for this homestead, but the barn, it was such a necessary piece of the puzzle. The sheep are out grazing and they just look so happy and healthy out here. And the diagonal on the barn roof, I was trying to go for something that was a little different. I think I like it. It's growing on me. The cows are all set in here. I need to feed them again so we can build them up because I'm definitely going to need leather for enchanting soon. And then you can see my happy little animals. I have 2 horses and a donkey in here. And then the pigs are behind. Up on top is just a nice little hay loft. There's some hay up here already and some good space. If I ever needed to put another farm or store something up here, I certainly could. The chickens are all down in their coop, laying eggs and building up if I ever need them again in the future. And it's really easy to check. There's just a little door on the outside of the building where I can reach in and see what's inside the chest. They're already growing. That's a lot of eggs really fast. I don't show a lot of this in recordings, but I spend a ton of time harvesting and replanting the wheat over here in my field. It's just not on camera because it gets a little bit boring, but it's a really good way for me to upgrade and move things along in my world. Of course, sometimes, things get a little bit complicated. You see, my world has more pillagers than I think I've had in other worlds before, and these guys, I've been waiting for them to despawn so I could get back over into my fields, but it's been an hour. It's time to put some security together. I'm thinking a tower at the top of the hill. I've been thinking about the type of improvements I want for the area. The barn, of course, is amazing. And then the tower in the back, I realize that doesn't actually help with real security, but I love the idea that it's there for security. Now I want to start thinking more about the homestead feel. So I'm considering putting in 2 silos because I think 2 looks prettier than 1, and right over here by the farm, just where it tucks a little bit behind the starter home itself. I'll have to flatten down a little bit of land, but I don't want them to be too big. So I've just sort of started brainstorming on where they're going to go and what they're going to look like. I want an aesthetic farm for every single one of the crops in the game, and I've been lucky enough now that I found seeds in a mine shaft or various other places, so I have every single one of the crops, and I don't know, the farms aren't going to be super useful. They're actually just going to be built to be really pretty on the landscape. That leaves me to my final problem, this cobblestone box. I'm not moving the villagers yet, and I don't actually know where I'm going with them. That's going to be in the next episode, so I've decided to cover the box up. I realize this is akin to shoving everything under the bed if you're trying to clean the room, but for now, it's going to look better, and so that's what I'm doing. It's not going to be a very complicated build. I'm literally just going with a very classic, straightforward structure, and I think it's going to serve as a little bit of a work shed on the property. Let's see how it all came together. My homestead has all the cozy vibes that I've been wishing for, and I am just happy to walk through the world right now. And it's just the very beginning, so I'm excited to see where this world goes in the future. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have the best Minecraft day.